Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Tasemere, your host of the Blackout live from New York. And the purpose of this segment is to celebrate Black folks across the diaspora and to have an open dialogue about Black economics, how we reimagine trends in business, and explore the magic that we have. Today, we are joined by Sean Stinnett, Deputy Director, Mayor's Office of Minority and Women-Owned Businesses, and Director of Baltimore Main Streets in Baltimore, Maryland. We have so much to discuss. I'm going to bring him up right now. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning, Tasemere. How are you?
I'm well. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good on this beautiful day. Feeling very energized. You know, CIAA tournament is coming to Baltimore starting on Monday. So, hey, we're ready to go. We're ready to showcase what the real Baltimore is all about.
I'm ready for that. So tell the folks a little bit about you and let's talk about some stuff.
Yeah, sure. I'm Sean Stinnett. As you mentioned, I work for the Mayor Brandon Scott and his administration, and I'm the Deputy Director of the Minority and Women-Owned Businesses, as well as the Director of Baltimore Main Streets. Born and raised and educated in Baltimore City. Prior to me, this is actually just celebrate my 1-year anniversary as far as with the city. Previously, I served 10 years with the state of Maryland as their MBE SBR liaison for the agency for the Maryland Department of General Services. And learned from a lot of great people as far as within that agency and served on a couple of administrations. And then came over, like I mentioned, started working for the city of Baltimore, which has been some things have been challenging, but it's been definitely great because I'm always, the type of person that like change and like bringing in new initiatives and new ideas and so forth. So I've been always up for the challenge, and we're taking some great positive steps in the right direction in terms of supporting and really getting more engagement with our small minority and women-owned businesses throughout the city. So it's been great. As far as main streets, right now we have 8 business districts within the city that's part of our Main Street program. And these are the areas of Pigtown, Highlandtown, Hamilton, Laurelville, Waverly, Bel Air, Edison, Pennsylvania Avenue, Fells Point, Federal Hill, and Waverly. And those business districts, of course, everybody's been, hit by the pandemic. So some businesses are still, reopening up, and some are still going through some challenges as far as trying to bring back their, a lot of their employees. Some are still on staggered hours, work hours and stuff like that. But it's our job as far as within my office, as far as find ways, grant opportunities, and different business resources for them to really, get things back to normalcy, so to speak. So hopefully that didn't give you too much, or at least
mouthful, and I understood everything, but I know some of our viewers might be like, what does all of this mean? So can you break down minority and women-owned businesses? Because I know that that's a certification that you usually have to certify, but some folks might not even know that this certification is something that they should even have for their business.
Sure. So what we have within the city, we have a certification process. It's the MBE, which is the Minority Business Enterprise, and the WBE, Women Business Enterprise. And of course, women is women. If you have a business that's at least 51% owned by a woman, no matter what the nationality is, by a woman, then you have the opportunity to become a WBE, become certified as far as with Baltimore City as a WBE vendor. A minority, of course, that falls under that. Within that umbrella is African American, Asian American, Hispanic American, and so forth. So they have an opportunity, and that could be, a majority, as well as 51% and up, as far as majority owned by a minority, and they have an opportunity to be certified as an MBE. And when you do have your certification, having your certification, use it as a tool. It doesn't guarantee as far as that, we're going to knock on the door and say, hey, MBE, here's a contract for you to take. No, of course, there's a series of you have to do your due diligence as far as when you have that certification, do some outreach as far as to people that are bidding as prime contractors, who has those contracts that actually are calling for a MBE and WBE participation. So there's a percentage as far as whatever's allocated for an MBE or WBE, and that's when that prime contract is looking for those type of vendors to actually be able to fulfill those MBE, WBE requirements. And that's why it's good to use that resource. However, I do want to say that if the goal is when you have that MBE, WBE, to get enough experience as far as under your belt that you can eventually bid as a prime contractor yourself. That's the goal, not to go throughout the years as just as a subcontractor for the duration of the length of your business. But no, the goal is to get the needed resource as far as to become an MBE or WBE, and then eventually get enough experience under your belt to eventually be able to comfortably put yourself in a position to bid as a prime contractor and bid on those contracts. And then you can also count yourself towards a small portion towards that MBE, WBE goal.
Now, do you have to be physically in Baltimore, or do you just have to do work with Baltimore in order to get the certification?
Yes, you have to be within the Baltimore City region of Baltimore City. And of course, it's Baltimore City, Baltimore County, Carroll County, Queen Anne's County, and so forth. So you have to have that business entity needs to be inside of that Baltimore City region in order for you to apply and get approved for your MBE, WBE certification.
Okay, perfect. So I think we handled all the So folks, if you do not have your MWBE certification or you are in Baltimore, you need to go get it so you can be able to use it as a tool, as Sean said, in order to advance your business. Now, moving on to the main streets, I'm always interested in main streets because my professional background is that I worked at a business improvement district here in New York. So what are main streets and why should people really be interested in that whole ecosystem that's happening?
Well, to really make it very, very simple, just, main streets, our main streets, like I said, we have 8 business districts, 8 main street programs in the city so far, and we're looking to expand. It's just all about as far as us having enough money that we can allocate it to assist in the development and just the stability of that main street program in that particular area. But our main street areas, everybody has a different taste, a different flavor, which I always say. So it's like it's a business and community within one. Of course, the main focus is the businesses within that section of that particular neighborhood. And I've always mentioned like Highlandtown is one of our great areas that has that good mixture of businesses, of different types of businesses, whether it be in, food services, Highlandtown is very fluent when it comes to the Latino population, along with a mixture of Black and white, so you have a different flavor of businesses that cater to everybody within and surrounding that community. So that's as far, that's the sort of the imprint or the word escapes me when I'm trying to say, but at any rate, but that gives you a sort of a flavor of what that area is about. But then you can go to another area, say like Fells Point, and you see the water, you see, other more 5-star restaurants and so forth. You get a different flavor of things. So it's like I said, every main street area brings a little bit of different, but it's a combination of residential as well as commercial as far as the mixture of those two entities blending together to make a neighborhood.
So what are some of the challenges that you find in managing these multiple main streets that fall underneath your leadership? What are some of the challenges that you have seen?
Well, the main challenge was, because of course, we're still dealing with the effects of the pandemic. Excuse me. We're still dealing with the effects of the pandemic. So it's like, particularly my Main Street managers and executive directors who are doing the day to day at their prospective sites, they're trying to, bring in more money as far as operating costs, or, we try to make sure that, sometimes it's unfortunate that we experienced some businesses that has to close because of they just didn't have any revenue coming in, and the pandemic just sort of wiped them out because employees had to leave and had to find other jobs, or of course, unfortunately, file unemployment and so forth. So then we had to sort of try to recruit new businesses that either wants a change of scenery, or even new businesses that actually started at home because people were home and had to think of some means of bringing some money into the mix, and try to recruit them to actually come in and move into these empty storefronts, empty vacants that we have. So because that's the one thing that's an eyesore to myself and to our managers, that we have. We're advertising, hey, come to shop at one of our town, Pigtown or Fells Point and so forth, but we don't want people to come and see vacant storefronts. So that's been a challenge in really trying to bring people in, which is slowly but surely is happening. Just like, I mentioned to you this morning, later today, we're going to do a grand opening of a business, Zeke's Coffee. Now, we have a Zeke's Coffee in our Hollandtown, and they wanted to expand, and they were able to expand to now Pigtown. So we're going to do an official grand opening because they expanded their, added on an additional location and had gone to Pigtown. So we're going to celebrate that, later this morning. But all in all, I think that's the challenge that we have it's been that pandemic, and then it's also just communication. When I came in, that I think that my predecessors before me, it seems like really didn't value the manager's expertise and how they felt that things should go, because everybody is different. We laid out we have a master plan of what the Main Street program is all about, but still you have to, and this is what our office does, we have to create some different types of business resources for those different Main Street sites, because everybody's different. We can't do everything the same, but like I mentioned before, everybody brings their own flavor. So we customize, certain resources as far as that, to make sure that everybody can be successful.
Now, I'm going to ask a question. You can definitely feel free to say not on air, but how are you managing this seems to be ugly G word of gentrification in the development of the main streets? Because that's something that I know was a major challenge in Harlem, this whole idea of folks feeling like business is coming in, and that's great, but at the same time, some native people feel like they're being pushed out.
Yeah, well, I guess I won't get too far into that, but my thing is, I'm a strong, and that's why I'm here working for the city of Baltimore. Very strong supporter and advocate in terms of Black businesses. We live in a majority Black city. However, my job is to, cater and to support everybody, no matter what, if it's either, Black, white, Muslim owned, whatever type of business. As far as when we know that it's a service that individual is providing for a certain community, or just for the city as a whole, we're here to support. My office will support as much as we can. I try not to get into all in that dynamics and everything, but I know that I go double time when it comes to minority and women owned businesses, because in some areas, it has been sort of isolated or left out, where some people may say, but I make sure that I do my every due diligence as far as making sure that they get the needed information, and being able to, engage and participate in every opportunity, just like everybody else. So, but my goal is to support everybody, particularly, our more deserving of minority and women-owned businesses.
Thank you for that. I feel like that is something that is sometimes overlooked in the commerce of mixing between business and the needs of the community. Sometimes it goes in one direction. Like sometimes you have people that are super focused on like social services and social ills of the community, and that's like where they put all their effort. And then on the polar opposite, you have folks that are like, I'm just worried about the economic stability of the commerce, right? Like I just need this area to make more money. But it seems like you are taking like objective approach, right? Like not ignoring that is there and it needs to be addressed, but also trying to be creative and a little innovative about how you do it, right?
Right.
And maybe like the way to do it is to mix in the different owners of the business is reflective of the community, right? So that is very interesting.
Right.
We have a
You
question.
have to. You have to. I mean, it's just that we talk about as far as one Baltimore, so we have to start acting like it, one Baltimore, and that's the approach that I take. And then even a lot of people, and it's all, to me, it all even lies down to education. Educating people that they are there. I know that in some cases, a lot of people may assume that there's not a lot of Black businesses in certain areas of certain parts of my main streets, like the Pigtowns and the Fells Points and Federal Hills. And I mean, when I walked in, and actually initially that was my first thing, is doing that type of research. And I was blown by the number of Black and women-owned businesses are in those areas, which you would think that just because of maybe just the lease space will be so high that it may be not affordable to certain businesses. But hey, it's everybody's been working very great together and bringing in, and really, especially with my managers there have been very forthcoming and very engaged as far as bringing those type of businesses and letting folks know that these businesses are there, because that's the type of energy that I bring across, and I make sure that my managers and executive directors bring that same energy off to make sure that we all got to be inclusive. We all got to be a part of this process. So it doesn't matter, what type of business, of a small business, but we want to make sure that we support every type of businesses that are in our Main Street areas, and particularly the ones that may have some challenges, like the minority and women-owned business.
I think that speaks to your leadership, right? Like, because it starts at the top of creating that culture and that drive and setting the expectations of being inclusive. Because sometimes you can have people just run amok, especially when they're managing different areas and you're not the one that's doing the day-to-day. You can have people that are like, I'm gonna do it the way I want to do it, and this is how I want it to. And then you have disconnect that starts to happen, and you don't really get to build a cohesive environment for commerce, because you have misinformation and then just other things happening. So I think that totally speaks to your leadership of being able to get everyone to buy in on one page, that this is what the focus is going to be and this is how we're going to roll it out. We have a question here in the comment. How much outreach is focused on residents in the area surrounding commercial to start their own business and create generational wealth in the hood?
Yeah. Yeah, we actually advertise many workshops for new or for folks that are thinking about starting a business. In our office, in our small minority women-owned business development office, we do have workshops that we advertise that will sort of like a entrepreneurship 101, that we help people as far as guide them to the necessary resources that we have in-house. We have several business resources that we utilize, and one of the main things is our Baltimore Source Link. and that's BaltimoreSourceLink.com, all one word, which is a phenomenal resource that you can tap in, that has a lot of drop down keys within that website, that if you're looking for funding, if you're looking for a certain type of resource, or you're looking for other organizations that could gear towards a specialty type of business, you can just log into BaltimoreSourceLink.com, and it gives you a lot of great information within that. So if you're just starting out, even you can log in, and actually we do have workshops as far as to help you to guide you through the process of developing a business plan. So it starts you from A to, and it takes you to Z. And it also, we have resources to make sure that, you keep growing as a business. So BaltimoreSourceLink.com is definitely a great resource that I recommend everybody to utilize and to navigate throughout that, especially if you're just starting out.
So I know we have to end soon, but I just have two more questions.
Sure, take your time. And I do want to mention real quick that, just to kind of go back to a couple of points that you had said, that, it was my job to understand and to embrace, Mayor Scott's 5 pillars, and within those 5 pillars is community economic development. So in order for me to understand that, that's when, once I understood that, that's when I knew exactly what to do as far as within my Main Street locations and everything, and kind of pass, that those teachings or that education piece to my manager and executive directors to connect to, for them understanding the connection as far as with us, city government, and the small minority and business community.
So 2 final questions, and then I will let you off the hook.
Sure.
How much of a role do institutional anchors play in the main streets of helping to maybe do research or partner with the main streets in order to do some kind of economic programming for residents and business owners? Do they play a large role or not so much?
Well, I guess depends on what you look at as far as what type of institutional. I would say, if I'm understanding your correct question correctly, I've reached out to, we have partnerships as far as some with, of course, we have all partnerships as far as within city government, and then the agencies, including like Visit Baltimore, that we have a great working relationship. But also we tapped into partnership with University of Baltimore, with students that are in the field of either community development, economic development, urban planning, and so forth. And we just recently established a partnership with Towson University, and working with a group of students through Towson University, and setting up some projects so we can kind of figure out how we can tap in a lot better and be more engaged as far as with the community, and really build upon the relationship between the community and the business community, the more residential community and the business community, and trying to figure out ways that we can kind of tap into and bring more people from within their own community to, our Main Street sites, as well as to make it more even attractable as far as for people that's passing through, visitors that's coming into Baltimore. And also even, of course, what I mentioned before, tap into a lot of these great big events like the CIAA that's coming up on Monday. But we tried our best as far as to partner with a lot of organizations in terms of that, and also even organizations that could help us deal with maybe, some issues or concerns a lot of the business owners have, like the public safety and like, trash and so forth. We connect ourselves with some grassroots organization that may be working with kids and cleaning things up, or getting them involved as far as even thinking about entrepreneurship and so forth.
Thank you. That sounds amazing. Makes me want to move to Baltimore.
Hey, come on. It's a great place. Born and raised, you'll never leave. We have a lot of people that's, that moved here and gone to school, like Morgan State and Coppin State, and stayed here and now here for 20 and 30 years. So we got room for you.
Making me want to be a transplant. So one final question. What is your vision for the businesses, for the main streets? What is the big vision that you have?
Well, the vision is definitely to overall expand the program, to let it grow. You know, we don't have the program in like areas like the northwest and southwest part of Baltimore City, and to grow and to open up new Main Street programs in those particular areas, as well as just strengthen the ones that we've have, our Main Street programs in the areas that we have now. To build upon our partnerships are within the city with other organizations, and just to really overall, at least whenever you say Baltimore, to me, I want the second thing that you will think of is Baltimore Main Streets, because and just overall, think about, okay, what how do I feel today? Do I feel I want to get some Mexican food and go to Hollandtown, or do I want to look upon the water and get some good Caribbean food at Denzel's, and look at across the water at Fells Point, or or get some vegan food at My Mama's Vegan, over in Waverly. Yeah, it just give you a good sense of, hey, where do I want to go? Where I want to spend my money, and I want to keep it here in Baltimore and at one of these Main Street locations. Um, so yeah, that's the overall goal, because I think that it's just for years it seems like no one didn't know really anything about Main Streets, about the Main Street program in Baltimore City. And now I think slowly but surely people are starting to learn and not even realize that they've already been patronizing, some businesses in these Main Street locations. They just didn't know this was the Main Street. So that's what it's all about.
And so how can people connect with you if we have some native Baltimore folks that are like, hey, this was great. I want to figure out how I could tap in. How do I connect? How do I become part of a Main Street? Maybe I want to open up a business and put it in a Main Street. Maybe I want to partner with Main Street director. How can people connect?
Sure. I'll give you my email address. The email address is Sean, SEAN, dot Stinnett, STINNETT, at Baltimore City, is all one word, .gov. That's Sean.Stinnett at Baltimore City, .gov. You can feel free to email me at any time. And then also my office number, actually my direct cell number, is 443. And of course, I'm looking at my card. Still have yet to memorize it, even though, because I don't dial myself. But 443-642-0671. That's 443-642-0671. Feel free to, it's always best to text me, because I'm always, engaged, or at just like, later today, be at a grand opening and so forth. So it's always to text me, let me know who you are, exactly what kind of information you may be looking for. And then we will set up a meeting, of course, via Zoom. And then so I can get a full idea as far as exactly what you want looking for, so I can make sure that I cater the specific information to you and get you started. So a couple of things, BaltimoreSourceLink.com, and of course my email address, Sean.Stinnett at BaltimoreCity.gov.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We have to have you back. We had so many people viewing. I'm sure that they have questions for you. So when you have time, we'd love to have you back on the show, and maybe some folks can ask their questions.
Great. I appreciate you. Love my family up in New York. My grandfather was from Jamaica, Queens, so love the place. Yes, yeah.
Enjoy your ribbon cutting today.
All right.
Hoping to see these Main Streets breaking trends in the urban community and serving as kind of like highlights of what other Main Streets can be doing across the nation, because we always watch it.
Right. Got it.
Enjoy your day.
Enjoy your day as well. Thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity.
No problem.
Take care.
This has been Tasemere, your host of the Blackout Live from New York. For the past couple weeks, we've been talking about a lot of stuff: urban planning, urban development, community engagement. And the reason why is because in the cities that we live in and the communities that we live in, we're impacted by this work. every single day, whether we are planners and whether we know it or not. And so I really wanted to bring that to light. I hope you guys have been enjoying it, and I look forward to seeing you guys here next week, same time, same place.